You click. One order, a simple action. Within 24 hours, a neatly sealed package shows up at your door, wrapped in cardboard and tape. The magic of modern convenience seems flawless. But behind every click, behind every box, unfolds a story you were never meant to see. And what you don't see is what you don't want to know. Far away, behind steel doors, feet shuffle across concrete floors. Backs crack under the weight of heavy boxes. Wrists swollen from endless repetitive motion. Machines roar, targets scream, and people vanish into silence. Your order moves fast, but the cost is paid somewhere else. This is the story no one tells you, but one you need to hear. Amazon, the store of everything. The promise of tomorrow, delivered today. Amazon, who doesn't know it? It's become impossible to imagine modern life without it. What started as a small online bookstore has grown into a global giant that reshaped the world. We click, we order, we receive, without ever stopping to think about the true cost of that convenience. In this documentary, we take you behind the scenes of that perfect image and reveal the harsh truths hidden behind the applause. 1994, Seattle. A rainy morning in a quiet suburban neighborhood. A rickety garage, cluttered with cardboard boxes, dusty computers, and the faint hum of a flickering fluorescent light. Amid the mess sits a young Jeff Bezos, hunched over a glitchy laptop. Not just another ambitious entrepreneur, but a man on a mission to turn the world upside down. In his mind, there are no small ideas, only a vision far bigger than the walls around him. A dream that would redefine everything we thought we knew about shopping, speed, and power. An online bookstore. But not just any bookstore, the largest in the world. The first few months are rough, processing every order by hand, packing books in reused cardboard boxes, driving to the post office himself, all fueled by a single obsession: speed and customer satisfaction. The dream grows. The ambition becomes boundless. What began as an online bookstore slowly but surely transforms into an all-encompassing marketplace. First come CDs, then DVDs, then electronics, toys, clothing, home appliances. Each new category demands more warehouses, more systems, more workers.
One good example of using an electronic mall effectively is something called Amazon.com. This virtual shop claims to be the world's largest bookstore.
Amazon builds its own software systems to manage millions of products. It opens fulfillment centers in strategic locations across the US, Delaware, Kansas, Nevada. Night shifts are introduced. Leases, staffing agencies, temporary contracts, all to keep up with rising demand. Within 5 years, Amazon is no longer just selling books. It's selling electronics, furniture, groceries, even pharmaceuticals. New markets are entered, often aggressively. Competitors are bought out or driven out. Fulfillment centers pop up like mushrooms. Newark, Phoenix, Dallas. Amazon experiments with its own delivery services. It builds sprawling data centers. It pours money into artificial intelligence to make deliveries even faster. Internal documents reveal bold growth strategies. Every quarter must be bigger than the last. Targets keep moving higher. If you're not growing, you're dying. It becomes an internal mantra. Bezos himself sets the tone. We're only 1% of the way there. The message is clear. Amazon doesn't just want market share. It wants everything. Within 5 years, the company isn't just a store. It's an ecosystem, a machine that never stops. And that hunger for more, it's insatiable. But this unprecedented growth came at a cost. A human cost, paid behind closed doors. The internal culture begins to shift. Targets become sacred. Delays are sins. Growth becomes more important than breathing. In 2010, Amazon unveils its crown jewel, Fulfillment Center CHA1 in Kentucky. Not just a warehouse, but a fortress of technology, built for a new era of speed and efficiency. The size of 16 football fields, its shelves stretch so high they vanish into a haze of dust. Inside those walls, the conveyor belts never stop humming. Robots glide across the floor, scanners beep, and human workers move like cogs in a massive machine. The temperature is carefully controlled, cool enough to stay alert, but never comfortable. Every second counts. Pick, pack, ship. The targets aren't just met, they're constantly raised. Workers are issued handheld devices that track their every move, how many items they pick, how long they stand still, how fast they walk. At CHA1, the DNA of the modern Amazon workplace was born. Everything for speed, everything for scale, everything for profit. The workers, trained, monitored, analyzed. Every second mattered, every deviation, punished. By 2022, Amazon operated over 175 of these massive fulfillment centers worldwide. A global network built to feed our hunger for convenience. Outside those walls, the numbers shine. Inside them, a different story echoes. A story hidden behind record-breaking profits and lightning-fast deliveries. A story of bodies straining under invisible pressure, of dreams that didn't grow but were crushed. And as the world kept clicking and buying, something began to stir within Amazon's walls, something that could no longer be hidden. This is where the mask slips, where convenience turns to pain. Welcome to the other side. Bessemer, Alabama. Tracy, California. Hemel Hempstead, England. Cities where Amazon landed like a giant, promising jobs, selling dreams. Inside those massive warehouses, thousands of people work. Young adults dreaming of buying their first home. Single mothers fighting every day to feed their children. Elderly workers, once proud, now forced to offer their worn-out bodies back to the labor market because their pensions fall short. Refugees, who left everything behind in search of a better life, only to see their hopes quietly shatter between the shelves. They walk for hours between towering racks filled with products they could never afford themselves. Their shoes worn down, their bodies exhausted, their hopes slowly dimming under the harsh lights that make no distinction between day and night. Everyone has a story, but inside these walls, those stories remain unheard. They're drowned out by the relentless beeping of scanners and the unforgiving ticking of the clock. The conditions are brutal. The corridors bathe in a cold, artificial glow, as if even the light has lost its warmth. The air is heavy, dry, laced with dust and the scent of worn rubber. In winter, the cold cuts through every layer. Fingers go numb, lips crack. In summer, the warehouse becomes an oven. Heat clings to your skin, and breathing feels like labor. The floor beneath feels like slabs of concrete pulling the energy from your bones. Every step, every second, every breath is monitored. Time doesn't exist here in hours or minutes, only in targets, in numbers, in deadlines that breathe down your neck. A delay, no time for excuses. A mistake, no time for explanations. Here, only one thing matters: keep moving, until you physically can't. On average, a worker walks 9 to 12 miles per shift, sometimes with orthopedic insoles, sometimes with feet wrapped in duct tape. After a month, it felt like my legs didn't belong to me anymore, says Angela Morrison from Kentucky. The targets keep rising. Every 11 seconds, another order scanned. Inhale, scan, exhale, scan. No slack, no mercy, just rhythm, just deadlines. Slow down, that's 1 warning. Make another mistake, that's 2. 3 warning. And your badge is ripped from your hands. Your name disappears from the system, like you never even existed. They expect you to work like a robot, but if you break, they replace you, says Luis Ortega from California. Inside these walls, it doesn't matter who you are, only how many seconds you can keep running before you collapse. They told us, learn to hold your pee, recalls Rhonda Williams from Illinois. Otherwise, you won't hit your targets. Sometimes the bathrooms are a 15-minute walk, 15 minutes there, 15 back. An eternity when every second counts, so they did what they had to do. They peed in plastic bottles, crouched between towering shelves, while scanners beeped mercilessly in the background. Others held it for hours, bladders aching, stomachs bloated from the pressure. I was about to collapse, shared Michael Chen, who worked in a distribution center in Ohio. But taking a break meant missing targets. Missing targets meant warnings. Warnings meant termination. In these halls, under the harsh fluorescent lights, people didn't just lose their dignity. They lost their right to basic needs, their right to humanity. Why did they stay? Because choosing between grinding on or drowning in debt wasn't a choice. Because no job meant empty plates at dinner. No health insurance meant a simple cold could become a death sentence. No income meant kids asking why the fridge was still empty. Between exhaustion and despair, they chose the only option they had. Keep walking, keep sweating, keep hoping, against all odds. "You feel trapped," said a man from New Jersey, caught between hunger and exhaustion. "Call in sick, and you could lose your job." "I had the flu," said Jasmine Lee from Sacramento. 102-degree fever. I stayed home. The next day I was blacklisted. According to a 2020 in-depth investigation by Reveal, based on Amazon's own internal documents, working conditions in many warehouses were nothing short of alarming. The data revealed injury rates at Amazon facilities were more than twice the industry average. In 2018 alone, over 24,000 serious injuries were reported, from torn tendons and shattered backs to complex bone fractures. The risk of severe injury was even higher in automated warehouses, where the presence of robots pushed productivity quotas even further. These weren't isolated incidents. They pointed to a systemic pattern of exhaustion, overexertion, and neglect of safety in the relentless pursuit of speed and profit. "I felt something snap in my back," says Robert King, who spent years lifting boxes at a center in Indiana. "But if you stop, your income stops." And then came the robots, small, bright orange Kiva machines gliding silently across the floor, towing towering shelves behind them like they were toys. Yes, they took over the heavy lifting, but they also changed the pace. The speed was cranked up to levels no human could keep up with for long. Where 100 orders per hour used to be the norm, soon it was 300, then 400. The machines never paused. They never got tired. They never made mistakes. "You felt the difference immediately," said Erica Barnes from Baltimore. "The robots destroyed your rhythm. You had to move faster, always faster. It was like your own body became your worst enemy. What was once meant to make work easier became the tool of an impossible race. A race against steel and algorithms. A race that humans kept losing. We had to match the speed of a robot," says Daniel Rivas, a former worker from Dallas, Texas. "But we bleed. Robots don't." The stories kept piling up. Women forced to keep working after miscarriages. Workers collapsing from exhaustion. Men hauling boxes with torn muscles. What began as technological progress morphed into an industrial nightmare. And outside those walls, silence. Deafening silence. But in that silence, something began to grow. A whisper. A spark. Workers no longer toiling alone in the shadows, but starting to ask, how much further can this go? How much longer can we stay silent? What was once hidden behind steel doors was about to break into the open. And when it did, it wouldn't just expose the system. It would reveal its cracks. 2021, Bessemer, Alabama. In the scorching spring heat, between the rumble of delivery trucks and the endless rows of steel walls, the workers made a decision. Enough. Enough of blisters that never healed. Enough of sweat pouring endlessly down their backs. Enough of goals designed for machines, not for people. They dared to dream of something that once seemed basic. Respect. A voice. Room to breathe. Flyers began appearing in break rooms and parking lots. Meetings were held in secret, in church basements, in backroom cafes. Fear hung in the air like a heavy fog. Every flyer, every whisper could mean the end of your job. "We didn't want to be treated like machines anymore," said Maria Delgado, who worked at an Amazon warehouse just outside Houston. "We just wanted to breathe, without fear." Amazon responded immediately. Millions of dollars were poured into consultants, specialists in crushing worker solidarity. Posters popped up above urinals, in hallways, even on the backs of bathroom stall doors. A union? Your benefits are at risk. Text messages flooded workers' personal phones. Subtle warnings, sometimes blunt threats, anything to sow doubt, to feed fear. On the day of the vote, the air felt impossibly heavy. Eyes avoided each other. Hands trembled above the ballots. The result? The union lost. Officially. But beneath the surface, something had fractured. Something that couldn't be fixed. For the first time, the world was watching. For the first time, Amazon's perfect image began to crack. And for the first time, the applause began to fade. For the first time, Amazon found itself under a microscope. Documentaries, Newspaper exposés, lawsuits. The gleaming image of a flawless tech empire began to splinter. Under pressure from public opinion and whistleblowers, Amazon promised reforms, higher wages, safer working conditions, longer breaks. But while one giant staggered, countless other factories, corporations, and distribution centers marched on, unseen. Because as long as we keep clicking, keep ordering, keep craving faster, more, cheaper, as long as we don't ask, what's behind my convenience, nothing will change. No law, no promise, no poster can break the system. If we keep feeding it, maybe the real question isn't whether Amazon will ever change, but whether we will. We click, we receive, we forget. Somewhere, behind every shiny package, behind every one-day delivery, still beats the broken heart of a system built on exhaustion. Behind the applause, that's where the real story begins. Think before you click. If you found this story important, don't forget to like this video, leave a comment, and subscribe to Behind the Applause. That way you'll stay informed about the hidden stories that need to be heard.